So it's all about drones today. Well, not all about drones, but the first half hour is.
The wonderful world of drones.
And then
Tra-la.
We're gonna talk to Miss Metaverse Katie Aquino
All righty.
a little later on.
Nothing droney about Katie.
She'd love to hear that, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, I'm making her a compliment.
That's
Come on.
right, exactly. So, yeah, we're going to be talking about social media. We didn't quite get through all of it last week, so we're going to be sharing some more tips and tricks on how to make social media work for you. Down at CES a couple weeks ago, I had the pleasure of hopping into the drone rodeo. So, when you hear drone rodeo, Jim, what do you think?
Drone rodeo.
Yeehaw!
Cowboys sitting on top of drones, buzzing around, I don't know.
Well, that's probably not so far off the truth. I was at the Clark County shooting range is what it was, and they had, and that's quite a facility, by the way. If you get out a little north of Las Vegas, it's a many acre, multi-building place, and you get to go around and I guess shoot things. I'm guessing clay pigeons and that type of thing, and targets and that type of thing. But out there that day, we had the drone rodeo going on. And I had the pleasure of visiting with Mark Kornblatt. Mark is the founder of the Aerial Sports League. So drone racing, basically. And it's like NASCAR for drones. These things go crazy fast already. And in fact, he said about a year ago, they were flying about 70 miles an hour. Now they're up to over 100 miles an hour. And it's the same... basically the same weight and that type of thing. They have different divisions that they work with, and a lot of them bring their 3D printers out there and print props and everything else to try to get more and more speed out of these things. So it was very interesting to see that, but the reason I'm kind of bringing this up actually is that it's just one of the future uses of drones. I think you're going to start seeing more and more of those type of things starting to pop up, whether it's hobbies, racing. It's just one of those things. I mean, think about a car, for example. I mean, we use a car to go grocery shopping. We use a car to go get the mail. We use it to go to work. And then you take the sports side of it, and there's car racing.
Right.
I see the same thing with drones. I really do.
Drone racing.
Yeah, and in fact, we talked about one of the... You want to be in a drone, don't you?
I'm picturing in my mind all these rednecks gathered around at some racetrack to watch the drones going around in a circle.
I'm just blowing everybody's ears out
NASCAR drone races, yeah. Dang, hey,
Let me
buddy.
step away from the microphone. Yeehaw!
Yeah.
You know, when I went out there, I really wanted to have a pair of cowboy boots and a hat on and a rope, because there were plenty of drones in the air, and I just thought it'd be fun to lasso one of them.
Woo! Twinkie the Kid.
Might be one other aspect of drone rodeo in the future, huh? Rope and
Rodeo.
Yeah,
There you go.
There you go. There you go.
Rodeo.
So, Amazon and Walmart and a few other companies are now investigating and actually working towards the possibility of delivering goods via drone, of course.
Oh, yeah, they've been working on that for a while
They
now.
have been, actually. And Amazon, of course, is very close. But people talk about the ability to get goods to you via drone. I think the actual opposite of that is going to happen, Jim.
What?
I actually believe that you and I are going to have drones that are going to go and pick up our stuff for us,
Oh, okay.
as opposed to businesses.
I actually wouldn't mind that. Like I have a prescription.
Yeah, that's
I
exactly.
got to pick up. I call in the prescription, and I tell the drone, go get my pills.
That is exactly what I'm
Yeah.
talking about, because I don't think every business in the world is going to offer delivery service.
No.
Why not? I mean, we all buy cars now, and in
Yeah.
fact, I would say that 10 to 20 years from now, you may opt to have a drone over a car, because it's going to go out and get these things for you. And the times that you do have to go someplace, you'll use public transportation or Uber or Lyft or whatever.
Right.
That's what I see happening. I really do. Nobody really talks about this a whole lot, but I just think that it just makes a lot more sense for people to have personal drones to go pick up their stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
think about picking up a gallon of milk, and you just don't even, go pick up your pizza, whatever
go
it
get a
is.
pizza.
Yeah. I mean, you wouldn't even think about it. So what'll happen is that you'll actually have a little landing pad that'll be in your yard, and your drone will, and once
Little drone pad, little helicopter pad.
That's exactly
type
right.
thing, yeah.
And what it does is it, as the drone approaches your house or your business, it'll land on this because the drone sees this pad and knows that that's where the landing place is.
Yeah.
And then it'll drop off. Exactly. Yeah. It'll drop your stuff off. Maybe you'll have a little robot that'll go out there and pick up your stuff and bring it in the house. Who knows how that'll work?
Well, my wife already has something like that. It's called Me.
Speaking of robots,
yeah,
I have my adventures with the robotic vacuum.
Oh.
I love this.
Yeah, you were telling me about that.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit last week. Neato is the brand, by the way. But there is the Roomba as well, and I believe that the Roomba works probably as good, if not better, than the Neato does.
Yeah, my wife and I were talking about that. The thing is, our place is such a mess, we'd have to pick up all the big junk first.
Well,
so it would have room to maneuver.
Not necessarily. No? You know, so I took it upstairs, and I was just curious. You know, we have a 4-level place, and upstairs is kind of where the kids go and play and that type of thing. So we got toys and everything else all over the place, and I was just curious how it would work. It just maneuvered around the toys.
Okay.
Saw it. Kind of went around it, did its thing, and I'm just shocked. I am so impressed with this. I can't tell people enough good things about a robotic vacuum. The thing is that it just does it on its own, keeps your house nice and clean.
Where do you go to buy one?
I think you can get them at any major super store now, you know. So, you know, like a Best Buy or probably Walmart, Target, Kmart, whatever.
What do they cost about?
I think they're kind of spendy. You know, they range anywhere, I think, from $250 to about $700. So it just depends on what you get. But, you know,
not what you pay for a decent vacuum cleaner.
That's correct. That's the thing. Because the last decent vacuum cleaner we bought was about $800.
I believe it.
So I know you can get the cheapies for $50 or $100, but
they fall apart in 6 months.
That's generally what happens with those. So yeah, it was pretty impressive. Pretty impressed with that. So I also brought, and for those who are following us on Blab, I'm going to put this right over top of Jim's head because he has an idea now. But this is an internet-connected light, Jim.
I'll stick it in my mouth like Uncle Fester.
So, you know, the first thing about it, of course, is that, I don't know about you, but doesn't it seem heavier than a regular light bulb?
Oh, yes. Much heavier.
So I was just kind of taken aback by that when I took it out of the box for the first time here.
Right.
But what it does is it connects to the internet, and then if your phone rings, you can program this so it lights up. Mm-hmm. Or if you're coming up the street to your house, and your phone will transmit the GPS signal, and bang, your lights will come on in your house. So there's all kinds of cool things that you can do with internet-connected lights. You get a tweet, and the color will change from white to blue, for example. So all kinds of great stuff with that. So, and then I have another device here. I know we're kind of pushing up on.
You got about a minute.
Here. Okay, so push this little guy right here, Jim. Don't look into it, though. Guy? Right there. Yep, just hold it for...
I'll hold it.
Oh, right there, a little lower, a little lower. There's the on button right there.
Okay, and push it there.
Okay.
Oh, there it is.
And now put it down on the counter here.
Oh, right there.
And actually put it down right here.
Oh, okay, okay, I'm putting it here.
And what do you see on the counter there? It's kind of hard to see right here.
Oh, I see.
It's a keyboard.
It's a keyboard.
It's an infrared keyboard. That actually works. How about that, huh? So this Bluetooth over to your smart device, this thing for those who are joining us on radio, you're actually seeing, it's a device probably about 1.5 by 3 inches, and it transmits an infrared keyboard onto any surface. And Jim right now is typing on it.
Yeah.
And so you can basically make your table or whatever else basically a keyboard and use it with your tablet or phone or whatever. Pretty neat, isn't it?
Yeah. And where does the information go? Is it save it inside there?
Actually, it just goes right Bluetooth right over to your phone. Just like a Bluetooth headset.
Gotcha.
So after the break, everybody, we'll continue our discussion on these cool new things, including new uses for drones. So come on back.
Right now, 28.
Mary Lou Henner, weekdays on Super Talk 1270.
Follow the Guru of Geek at Facebook.com/The Tech Ranch or Twitter at Guru of Geek or TheTechRanch.com. Here again is your Guru of Geek, Marlo Anderson.
And we want to thank all of our listeners across the country and around the world who join us on the Blueberry Network, on the Tech Podcast Network, on the Roku, on Tuned In. Today we're also on Meerkat, and we're on Blab.im, so you can join us on Meerkat. You can join us on Blab.im. So if you're on an Android or an iPhone, I guess, an iPhone. I always get that mixed up, Jim.
The or the.
Yes, exactly. So hop on there. Of course, you can always find us
iPhoning. We'll make it into a verb.
I love that, actually.
Yes.
Yes.
Hey, man, you're iPhoning.
And of course, you can always find us on Radio Pup, our own app right here.
Town Square Media.
Absolutely love it. So anyway, Jim, so we're going to get into the nice hat, by the way.
Thank you.
Love it.
I understand you had comments about that.
I have had comments on that. People love your hat.
My wife got me this hat, and people love it.
That's fantastic. I'm going to swing the Meerkat cam around here, too, so people can see you. You got two angles coming at you right now. So there you go. Show it off, man. That's right. So if you're wanting to see us in the studio, please hop on to Blab.
Hey, Cindy Crawford's retiring. Maybe I get that gig.
Maybe so. That'd be cool.
Maybe
actually.
not.
So we're talking about the future of drones. So when you think of the future of drones, Jim, what do you what does that conjure up in your head?
A sky full of little flying saucers buzzing around and trying not to bump into each other.
Well, that's an interesting thought.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the first thing that I think is, how are we going to guide the traffic, so to speak?
Well, there's actually a company based out of Fargo, North Dakota called BotLink,
All right.
and they're actually working on that problem. They actually have a system in place that actually works with drones talking to each other.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to be standing underneath. Seriously, I hate to be standing underneath if two of these things have a collision and they just drop out of the sky.
Yeah, if there's lighter weight ones, probably not a big deal.
Yeah.
But there are some. In fact, if you're in that league where you got to register your drone, it's a half a pound to 55 pounds.
Right.
I would hate to have something 55 pounds
55
whacking
pound,
me on
yeah.
the head at moving at 100 miles an hour.
Right.
That would hurt a little bit.
It would give you a headache.
So, yeah. So I guess that is something to think about. But, yeah, I think, they're kind of working on that navigation part. And the other thing is, of course, is that airplanes want to know where the drones are at as well.
Oh, absolutely.
So this whole system will work on that as well.
Well, I'm sure the commercial aircraft, I'm sure it's not so much a problem for the commercial aircraft, which are higher up.
Right.
But the lower private planes
Exactly.
flying just a few hundred or a couple of thousand feet up, they may have some issues.
Sure. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think you're going to start seeing the skies kind of start to fill up a little bit, but there's a lot of space, up there, and the drones are rather small.
And what happens if they get near an Air Force base? Do they shoot them down?
They will.
Seriously?
Absolutely, they will.
Yeah.
There's actually defense systems being put into place, lasers, basically.
Yeah.
You go into a no-fly zone, they will just shoot you down.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Or they'll dispatch drones. They actually have drones that are able of catching other drones now.
Okay.
And it's as simple as dragging a net along and dropping the net over the drone. It's kind of hilarious when you think about it that they've come up with this low-tech approach to grounding drones.
Yeah.
But this drone will come along. It basically is a very fast-moving drone. It'll catch up to you and just drop a net over the top of you, and you're grounded.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
And you won't get it back, or you pay a fine to
One
get
of
it
the
back,
two.
or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So, moving into like emergency services, or excuse me, let's talk about early warning systems first.
Right.
So, think about tsunami,
Yeah.
avalanche, tornado warning.
Tornadoes, yeah.
The ability, and this is all based on what's called swarm technology. Okay,
Yeah.
so what they can do, you think about dispatching a single drone into a thunderstorm. Yeah, you're probably going to get some readings and that type of thing out of
Yeah.
it. But it's when you have the ability to dispatch 20 or 40.
Well, think of the movie Twister. Remember?
Exactly.
They had these little devices that they're trying to figure out how to get them into the tornado.
Right.
Well, with with drones, you just fly them right at the storm.
That's correct.
Fly them right into the storm.
And they claim that it just takes a minuscule change in the atmosphere to create a tornado.
Yeah.
So you might be on the verge of it, but you're not really sure if there's one in there or not.
Yeah,
or
they still
whatever
don't
it is.
really know how they're formed.
That's correct. So you basically can dispatch 20, 30, 40 drones around it, keep measurements on the atmosphere that's going on around it, and then you probably get a better idea about when a tornado is being formed. So pretty cool stuff, think about it. Sound cannons, think about avalanche prevention.
Sure.
You could fly a drone up into an avalanche-prone area and have a sound cannon on it that shoots, that awful loud sound to create an avalanche before there's somebody up on there.
Yeah.
So that's basically how they do that with
Like a
avalanche
controlled
prevention.
burn, where you burn part of the forest so it won't catch fire later.
That's correct. That's
I
exactly
see.
how it is. So,
Yeah.
And speaking of that, forest fire preventers.
Yeah.
You could have drones that basically fly over large areas of forest
Sure.
just to check on them. see how things are going, because a lot of fires go undetected until they get to a pretty large thing, because there's just no way to cover all of that area.
Yeah.
So a drone could do that.
And they could probably detect smoldering from the ground, even if they don't see it. They probably have devices.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
They
they got
smell it, so to speak.
Well, that's funny you bring that up, actually, because the next thing I have on my list is emergency services. Mm-hmm. And the very first thing on this list is a missing child drone. Okay?
Right.
And this particular drone, much like a hunting dog, is capable of tracking the smell of a child.
Oh.
So you're talking about smelling smoke. Well, you can also have, like you take a piece of clothing to a dog.
Yeah, give the shoe to the dog.
Yeah,
the dog
exactly,
sniffs it,
right?
And then goes out.
So that's what a drone is capable of, too.
Yeah.
With the special technology on that. So you could go out there and find a lost child.
Yeah.
It's just amazing when you think about that. Thermal sensors for avalanche rescue, infrared sensors for early forest fire detection, just like you were talking about. Insect killing drones kills the insects before they kill you.
Oh, like with mosquitoes,
I
malaria,
suppose.
that kind of thing.
I'm guessing that's probably what that is. Poacher drones tracking animals in danger of being poached. Mm-hmm. So I suppose they could do something to follow elephants or whatever else that's endangered.
So they don't get shot by some dentist from Minnesota or something?
Without having, to put a chip or something on the animal itself, they could just track it with a drone. So all kinds of cool things. A missing pet drone.
Yeah, I was going to say missing pets. If the pet has the chip in it under its skin, they can find the pet.
See, and this is the thing I'm kind of getting at here is that, we're going to buy a drone. I really believe this is a scenario that's going to happen 10 to 20 years from now. You and I are going to have personal drones, and then we're going to have this technology available to us.
Yeah.
We're not paying a service. We may pay for the app or something like that, right? Or we'll put the chip on our dog or our cat, and when the cat or dog goes missing, you just dispatch your drone to go find it.
Yeah.
That's how it'll work.
Go find Fluffy.
Yep. And then, by the way, drone, when you're out there looking for Fluffy, pick me up a pizza.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I see happening with this stuff. It's pretty cool, actually. And then moving on from emergency services, news reporting. You're already starting to see a big change already in news reporting. We're using a couple of those medias right now. I mean, we have Meerkat running in here, and we have blab.im.
It's probably a lot cheaper in the long run than hiring somebody to go up in a helicopter and do the traffic report.
That's correct. I mean, the ability to gather information now is much easier because it's in yours and my hands. Mm-hmm. I mean, we can take our device, just like what we're streaming right now on Meerkat with my Android and my tablet over there with blab.im, and you and I can weigh in on this stuff. Yeah. Well, we can dispatch our drone and capture things and feed that out as well.
Right.
So I really believe that's how that'll work. Time-lapse weather drones, protester cams, man-on-the-street interviews, real-time stat drones, anything from traffic counts to air quality, that type of thing. Locker room drones. I find this interesting.
Locker room drones.
Well, instead of, there's always that big controversy about having a female correspondent in a male locker room or vice versa.
I actually had a friend who did that for a living. She was a female sports correspondent.
Okay.
And she would go in the locker room, and the guys would be standing around naked.
Yeah.
Yeah, after a while, it's no big deal.
I would imagine that is true, but for some people, it probably is, and maybe more so for the reporter than the athlete. I don't know. Drone deliveries, of course, P.O. Box drones. They're actually talking about it, and there's a lot of fun if you go on YouTube about some people that do the gag pranks on YouTube. I don't know if you've ever seen this, and this is hilarious to me. This one guy dressed up like a postal service employee goes to this house, and this lady comes out. And he says, "I'm sorry, ma'am, but because you're in a rural area, we're going to start delivering your mail by drone."
Okay.
And she's like, "How's this going to work?" And he goes, "Oh, by the way, here it comes now." And they just fly this drone over the top, and the drone's 100 feet in the air and just drops the mail, and it just flutters everywhere. It is so hilarious.
Candid camera. Remember when we were kids?
Yes, exactly.
There was a show? Yeah.
Exactly. So anyway, you're going to start seeing more and more of those type of things. And again, you might have some of these companies that offer these services, but I really do believe it's going to be you and I that are going to have the drone that's out there. Business activity monitoring, anything from construction monitoring to thermal imaging of buildings, geographical surveying, gaming drones. That, I think, is going to be a whole nother industry in gaming.
Yeah.
You're going to have drones that you and I are going to fly for gaming purposes. Sporting drones. The sport racing thing. By the way, the Aerial Sports League I was just talking about, you're talking, they have an event coming up in about a month and a half.
Yeah.
That is $1 million purse. This is NASCAR level stuff all of a sudden. Already. This is a big deal that's happening with that. So they're going to be very interesting. Entertainment drones. You're going to have all like the drone circus, concert swarms, those type of things, prankster drones, fireworks dropping drones.
Yeah.
That would be kind of cool, actually. So, all right, everybody, after the break, Miss Metaverse, Katie Aquino will be joining us, and we're going to be talking about the tips and tricks to social media. So come on back.
Right now, 28.
Here's Sean Hannity, weekday afternoons on Super Talk 1270.
We're back to the Tech Ranch. Stream this program now at supertalk1270.com. Here is your guru of geek, Marlo Anderson.
And again, we want to invite everybody who's maybe by a computer or on their Android or iPhone. We're actually streaming live on Meerkat, and we're also streaming live on blab.im as well as at supertalk.com. Correct?
Supertalk1270.com.
1270.com. Thank you very much, Jim. And all kinds of places you can stream us online as well. So if you're having a hard time maybe listening to us in an office setting or whatever, please join us right there. And joining us from New York, Miss Metaverse, Katie Aquino. Katie, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How you doing, Marlo?
I'm doing fine as well. It must be hat day today because I see you. I see Mr. Brian Reinbold in Blab wearing a cap, and Jim is wearing his cap or hat.
I'll bring a hat, Marlo. Next week, you're the odd man out right now.
You know, the problem with that, though, is then everybody will be able to see the rest of my face. Right now, there's this glare off the top of my head, you know, from the... from the lack of hair, as they say. So, something about age in that, I guess. But anyway, so we're talking a little bit about drones, and we'll get into more of that maybe next week. Katie and I started a conversation last week on social media and basically just ran out of time, tips and tricks. I don't think we even really got to Twitter or Instagram or anything. We were really focused on Facebook last week. And so I'm going to guess that we're going to move into some of those realms. Although, is there anything left in Facebook that we need to talk about, Katie?
I don't think so. I think one of the biggest things that we covered last time was talking about how to utilize the most out of, Facebook advertising. That's really the biggest part of it, right? So.
Right. Well, and I think we talked a little bit about, making sure you add photos if you want more reach. That content is still king. So if you're talking about something on Facebook, 2 sentences is okay, but if you tell the story behind it, it's even better, isn't it?
Exactly. It's all about the organic reach versus the paid reach. And there's 2 different ways to go about it. And I think that, definitely tune into our last episode so you can hear more about our ideas about marketing on Facebook.
Absolutely. All right, so let's move on. I'm just going to let you lead the conversation, and I'll just jump in whenever.
All right, so I was thinking that we would talk about Instagram today.
Okay, cool.
And the reason being is that when Instagram came out, I think it was a couple of years ago. I don't exactly know the year. Facebook was 2007, but anywho. So Instagram's become such a huge, important part of content marketing today, and I can't stress that enough. Why? Because it's kind of like Facebook. Originally, Facebook was way younger. There's a lot of younger people using Facebook originally, and the same goes for Instagram as well. Instagram started out being very, very young, but now it's completely changing. Now there's a study that came out saying, it was a study by Forrester, and it found that Instagram content generates 58 times more engagement per follower than Facebook and 120 times more than Twitter. And that's important because all users of all backgrounds and genders, ages 34 and over, are now using Instagram now. So it's becoming more diverse. It's skewing a little bit older now, and it's the perfect time to start marketing there.
So tell me a little bit about the engagement side of that. You said that you're 58 times more likely to have engagement from others. I think we got a little feedback going on here.
We got a feedback again, yep. This is why I have a tripod. This is an ongoing joke we have here, that every single time I go on the radio and I have Blab going at the same time, it gets this weird feedback.
Yes. Okay. Well, we'll have to focus on the radio audience, I guess. We'll work on the blab issue later, everybody. So anyway, so tell me a little bit about the engagement side of it again. So you're 58 times more likely to have engagement from the audience in Instagram over Facebook?
Yes. It says the study that was published by Forrester, it found that Instagram content generates 58 times more engagement per follower than Facebook and 120 times more than Twitter. That's pretty amazing.
That is absolutely amazing. So is there a process where when you post on Facebook that you can, push over to Instagram or vice versa to maximize that?
Yes, there's a lot of different ways. And Marla, like you were saying in the last episode, that people are using a lot of different ways to connect all their different accounts. And you use IFTT, which is if this, then that.
Right.
And that's a great platform where you can connect different social media accounts and also different technologies. So when something happens, another thing will happen. So let's say if you want to have a recipe so that when you share something on Twitter, it also gets shared on Facebook. You could do that.
And I think I'm going to stop you right there. When you say recipe, you better clarify that because we probably have people who are thinking that we're talking food here.
Absolutely. So a recipe is your specific formula that you set up pertaining to how you want your social media content to be shared or however you want things to be set up. It's your settings,
right,
essentially.
Through IFT. So, for example, and those who are following on video streams right now, I'm holding up my internet-connected light bulb. Actually, I'll pass that over to Jim so he can hold it up as well. So if you wanted to, every time you have somebody direct message you in Twitter, you could program this light bulb in IFT, IFTTT.com, and this light bulb would actually blink or just turn on or whatever. That's the thing, or change colors, whatever you want it to do. So that's just one of the many tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of things you can do with IFT, and it's free. It's absolutely free.
It is. It's so neat. Definitely check that out. And another thing, too, going back to what we were saying before, Facebook owns Instagram. So those two work very well together. What you can actually do is on your Facebook page for your business and whatnot, you can have a tab that connects to your Instagram. So you can have the two actually showing on the same page. And not only that, but, Instagram has a lot of great things about it. Unlike Facebook that has algorithms that show you different things, Instagram is more linear. Things that are shared are in the timeline as is. It's not, as far as I know, I don't think that they've enforced any algorithms. Do you know about that, Marlo?
I'm not an Instagram user, so I just don't follow it at all.
Yeah, I don't use it at all either.
So
maybe I should.
I think they have. I think they might have as far as for paid Instagrams.
Okay.
If you have a business account, and I do highly recommend that everyone who owns a business set up their own Instagram business account. There's a lot of benefits you can do. You can do sponsored posts just like you can for Facebook. But the difference is that you're much more likely to be found organically versus on another platform like Facebook. So there's a lot of free advertising or marketing benefits by using Instagram. The only thing is that through Instagram, once you're in Instagram, you can't really leave it. When you share an Instagram photo, for instance, you can't simply comment below or even write in the description a website that's external. Everything has to stay inside Instagram. But Instagram is fantastic for connecting with your customers and your clients and your audiences, the type of people that your business is about and who you're providing services to. It's a great way to establish what your brand is.
So Instagram, maybe for those who are not familiar with it because they live in the world of Facebook, which pretty much everybody does nowadays, Instagram is basically an image first and everything else secondary, right?
Exactly. It's a very visual experience. Everything is about images. It's just a photo and the description, and then if people want to comment below, they can, or if they double tap on the image twice, they will be able to like it, and you get hearts, and your hearts are like your likes.
So are you able to post on Instagram without using an image?
No, you cannot.
Okay.
It's only about the image.
Okay.
And everything else is secondary.
Interesting. So, and how big is Instagram? Any idea how many people are on there and compared to Facebook?
I don't know the exact numbers, but there are a lot of people. It's changing as well. There's a lot more people coming on Instagram now because, just like I said before, originally it was a lot younger, and now a lot of those younger kids are using Snapchat, which we can get into next. But now Instagram is becoming more diverse. Everyone's on it, from businesses. And what's great, too, is I highly suggest that everybody go and check out your fellow companies and organizations out there. See what they're doing. See how they put their Instagram, photos up, or what they do especially for it. Because there's a lot of content strategy that goes into how they integrate their brand into their content they're sharing. So it's really neat to see how people take something like Instagram, where it's just photos, and try to speak to their audiences.
So I think one of the issues that a lot of people have, Katie, and I'm going to fall right into this, is that there is so many choices now. It's just not Facebook and Twitter anymore. Instagram, Pinterest, what other one am I forgetting here all of a sudden? But anyway, there's
Tumblr,
quite...
Snapchat.
Yeah, exactly. So, there are just so many others that are out there. So I've always had the understanding, I guess, that if you're going to move into social media on business or whatever, that maybe you get really good at one or two of them.
Yeah.
And not diversify, not be mediocre at a bunch of them, just be really good at one
Bingo.
or two.
Yeah.
So, do you follow that? And if that's the case, what two would you pick?
That is a very tough thing to say. I do agree with you. I think it's best to really just kind of focus and master maybe one or two before spreading yourself too thin. Because another thing is, too, it's, I don't know. I guess it's a little disappointing when you see a company have a really good, let's say, Facebook page, but then have open but not even used other ones. So it's good to really just have a solid one, yes.
Okay.
If my two I would pick, I would have to say Facebook and I have to say Facebook, and I don't even use Instagram that much anymore, and I hate to see that because there's so many benefits to it.
Sure.
But I'm really using Facebook and LinkedIn the most lately, which is odd.
All right, everybody, after the break, we will continue our conversation with Miss Metaverse, Katie Aquino, on social media tips and tricks. So come on back.
Right now, 30.
Super Talk 1270, home of the Bismarck Bobcats and high school sports. Listen online or anywhere on the Radio Pub app. Super Talk 1270.
Follow the Guru of Geek everywhere he goes. Post your comments or questions at thetechranch.com. Once again, your Guru of Geek, Marlo Anderson.
All right, Jim. You look really cute when you do that.
Lip syncing to the tongue twisters.
Yes, yeah, that's wonderful. Anyway, welcome back, everybody, to the Tech Ranch. Miss Metaverse, Katie Aquino, is online with us. We're talking about tips and tricks for social media, really discussing Instagram right now. So, Katie, Brian just posted on Blab that that there are over 400 million people now using Instagram, larger than Twitter.
Wow.
So I suppose if you were going to pick two, that a person should probably pick the two largest.
I agree. I think that Facebook and Instagram are the most important. I just said that I just so happen to be using other ones at the moment. But I am planning on getting back on Instagram because it is so helpful.
Well, and I think with automation tools, like using IFT or Hootsuite or any of these others that are out there, that a person could, even if you're not really good at these other ones, you could at least, go into the page, spend a half hour, an hour, like on Instagram or whatever, spiff up the page that you're using or whatever, and then automate it from there. So anything you post on Facebook goes to Instagram.
Exactly. There's a lot of ways you can cut down on the time that it takes if you were to do everything manually and one by one. So I agree with you, Marlo. I think it's best for you to come up with a way to put together recipes, like you just said before, and it's this and that. Come up with a way that you share it in one place and it goes everywhere else. And I think that Instagram is a great platform to get started on, simply because it is so easy to use. And it's just about the photo, It's about hashtags. Hashtags are super important. You could start by posting photos and using really general hashtags, or what a lot of companies do is they'll use custom hashtags, something that goes with their business, and then create either a campaign or a contest that engages followers and has them participate in the contest and get your custom hashtag out there.
So, one of the challenges that I think a lot of businesses have, and people, and again, I should probably go back to everything that we're talking about here for business can be used privately as well, because every one of us probably plan events using Facebook or Instagram or whatever, and you're on there, and whether it is a family reunion or your son's birthday or whatever, you're utilizing this stuff already. We're just talking on the business side of things. Just know that you can use everything we're talking about personally as well. So, when you're in, I'm really, as with National Day Calendar, as many of you know, I have a little website called National Day Calendar, and I'm really feeling kind of stupid right now, Jim. Just telling you, because
Why?
we've done an okay job with Facebook, not as good with Twitter, but we have nothing on Instagram. Absolutely
and
nothing.
That's crazy to me because it's so much fun. We have to do this, Marlo.
Yeah, I agree.
We need Instagram for dummies. That's kind of what we're doing here today.
I guess you're right. And we've built almost our whole website platform on images.
Yeah.
I mean, we have an image for every national day. Whether it's Chocolate Cake Day or whatever it is, we put out these cool images for the media to use, and we don't even use them ourselves. How terrible is that?
Pictures of groundhogs tomorrow?
We are.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I have a picture of you with a groundhog, Jim.
Me with a groundhog.
Yeah.
And I saw my shadow, and I went back to bed for 6 more
Yeah,
weeks.
that's actually it'd be 6 more months probably.
Probably,
yeah. Anyway, so you're absolutely right. I mean, for what I do, and I think that's kind of the point I'm getting to here, is a person has to maybe analyze what they're doing with social media and pick, if you're going to pick a couple of them, pick the right ones.
Right.
What about LinkedIn? I never got LinkedIn. I mean, I had it, I was on it, and I actually closed out my account because I couldn't figure out what to do with it.
That's completely understandable. LinkedIn is very complicated to use, I have to say. Even me being a social media expert, I am still trying to figure out all the little hidden tricks and tips there because it's not very straightforward. However, I have to say that LinkedIn has been booming with engagement. I mean, I've been seeing so many people sharing content, writing content. There's a lot of different, did you know that there's, I think, 10 apps that LinkedIn has now?
10?
10.
So what are the apps ranging in, what do they do?
They all do different things. So there's one that's for just for groups. There's another one that you could do just for sending out quick congratulations. Because the way LinkedIn works is that it's centered around your profile, but then there's groups, and groups are where a lot of people network. But groups started off as a good thing, but now what people started doing is they've created a timeline, and people started by sharing links or sharing important news stories of the day.
Yeah.
And that started really taking off. So what they did was they came out with LinkedIn Pulse. Now, people are writing their own content, and they're sharing it on this LinkedIn post. So you can actually establish yourself as a thought leader by using LinkedIn as a platform to write your own articles.
Interesting. So do you use LinkedIn as well yourself, Katie?
I've just started really using it, I'd say, within the last month or two, and
okay.
I'm still trying to figure it out. It's definitely complicated because it's, not very straightforward.
It is, and I will say that I have a LinkedIn account, and I probably do better than I should with it. I have a lot of people who want to follow me all the time on LinkedIn, so I guess that's probably okay. Maybe with some of the different things that I do, and that's probably why that is the case. So accidentally I do okay on LinkedIn.
Well, I know when I first got on, I heard the idea was, well, it's social media, but with a business sensibility.
Right.
It's more business oriented. And I thought, great. I got on, and then I got to thinking, what does that mean?
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people originally were using LinkedIn, they basically post their resume, so to speak.
Sure.
And then with hopes that maybe somebody
Yeah.
would come along and say, hey, Jim, really like what you're doing. Come work for me
Yeah,
instead.
networking for jobs,
Yeah.
basically.
That's, I think, what the premise was to start, but I don't know
Right.
if that's such the concentration anymore.
Well, that would make it just a slightly less formal version of Monster.com, if that were
Exactly.
the case.
Exactly.
And it seems to me there's a potential there to do a lot more with it.
Well, I know when I need to find somebody in a particular company, let's say it's their marketing director or whatever, I tend to go to LinkedIn to find that information.
Yeah.
So I guess that might be one. And I do pay for it. I mean, I do pay, I forget what it was, 30 or 40 or 50 bucks a month or whatever
Yeah.
it is for the upgraded version of LinkedIn for that feature. So that's probably what I use it for more than anything else.
I will say there are a lot of people who I've sought out over the years, people I knew from, or, on a business basis, people I knew from the past I wanted to reconnect with. And the only place I could find them was on LinkedIn.
Yep. Yeah, I
There-
can.
Certain people, there are just some people who don't do the social network thing at all.
Well, and I think high level people, if you're a CEO of a company
Yeah.
or whatever, you may have a Facebook page, but it's basically for family or whatever. You're not
Yeah.
going much farther than that. You're using that professional side, which is what LinkedIn is about for your professional world. I agree with you, Jim. I think there's a lot of people that if you're especially a high level business person,
Right.
would use LinkedIn way above, or
Yeah.
that would be your choice of social media over Facebook or Twitter or whatever. So absolutely. How about you, Katie?
I kind of feel that, well, LinkedIn is a very cold social media platform. I
Yes.
feel that it's not very encouraging to go and just friend people and connect with them. Because even the process of connecting with people on LinkedIn, it's like you have to, select one. How do you know this person? Are you a
Right.
friend, a colleague, this,
Oh,
that,
yeah.
the other?
You jump through a
And
lot
like
of
you
hoops
said-
sometimes.
Yeah,
Right.
they certainly don't make it easy. And if you don't select the right one, they're going to be asking you, how do you know this person? And do you want to send an invite out? So you're right. It is rather convoluted, but they do that, I think, to protect the person who you're wanting to friend. So unlike Facebook or Twitter, where somebody can just ask for a friend request, and absent-mindedly, a lot of times I click yes, I shouldn't, because
It
there's a
is
lot of
like they're
people-
making an effort there to keep it all business.
Yep. Yeah, I agree.
Definitely.
So coming up to the end here, Katie, what about Pinterest?
Pinterest is excellent. Pinterest is one of the platforms, maybe even, besides maybe Tumblr, where it's very visual and you can share content, and it doesn't matter if you shared it a year ago or if you shared it yesterday. It's like it was just shared, and it doesn't expire. I feel like content on Facebook or Twitter, it expires almost immediately. People don't care about it.
Sure.
It's not the same.
So, and then what about?
Instagram is kind of
I hate to. I got a bunch of requests about Snapchat as well. Why don't you finish up with Snapchat?
Snapchat? All right, so Snapchat is definitely skewed more towards younger audiences. My nieces use Snapchat. They were some of the first ones. A lot of younger people are using it because it's all about taking a picture and then it expires within a certain amount of time. You know, if you can only hold it down, and as soon as you lift your finger off of the picture, it disappears.
All right, Katie, I think we're just going to have to end it there. We're going to have part 3 next week. We'll get into a little bit more on LinkedIn, Snapchat, all of those other social media choices as well. Thanks, Katie. Appreciate it.